In the mud-soaked wilds of southern Misthalin, a single goblin life was destined to reshape history. The world is changing, not always by kings or of those mighty forces of godhood. Sometimes it's by the least suspecting of creatures, a child of the Lumbridge forests, clinging to a mother who had no tribe. Tragedy beset them. A sinister force crept within the woods. In a single terrible moment, her life was lost, and the small goblin boy was left alone in the muck, with only his bones. It was then that fate intervened, as no one ever foresaw. All right, guys, welcome to episode 0 of my Goblin-Locked Ironman journey. I'm going to go over the main rules and the main goals for this account in this video. So to start off, what are the main rules? What even is a Goblin-Locked Ironman? Well, it's essentially to roleplay like a goblin. It's kind of a meme joke account, but this is some of the most fun I've had playing RuneScape in a while, and I think it's gonna be pretty cool. In total, this account took about 6 days in-game time, 6 days of in-game time to set up, and essentially set up my stats exactly how I wanted them to tell a backstory for this character, and to get the Goblin Mask on a hardcore Iron Man. By doing as many easy clue scrolls as I could. And what's really neat about this account is actually on my 100th collection log item, I got the Goblin Mask. And that's where you're seeing this footage here, is I had just got the account perfectly set up to where I wanted it by finally getting that Goblin Mask. So you'll see here in my bank all the items I've collected over the course of these 6 in-game days. I started this account back in like August of 2025, and I'm recording now in January 2026. So it took a while to get it set up, and I'm currently working on one of the first narrative arcs I want for this character right now, which is why it's taking so long. But yeah, the main rules of this account is just to play as close to a goblin as possible, to use goblin-coded weapons and armor and gear, and to never remove my goblin mask. There is a few exceptions to complete quests. I have to take off my goblin mask to do a few quests, but 99.999% of the time, I'm just always going to be role playing as a goblin. With that said, some of the main goals for the account is to start a goblin clan of my own, a goblin tribe of my own, some sort of social guild at some point if enough people like this series, and eventually go out into the wilderness maybe with a group of goblin boys and just go out and PvP or do get up to some shenanigans. That's a main goal for the account. Defeat as many bosses and monsters as possible, and complete as many narrative arcs for this character as well. And, what are those narrative arcs? Well, they're represented by the Goblin drop table, the standard Goblin drop table, which I'll always be carrying on my character. Every time I complete a narrative arc, I can release one of those items in my inventory. And so, for an example, the hammer is one of the items on the Goblin drop table. The goal I have to achieve in order to complete that narrative arc is to collect every single hammer in the game. And yeah, Torag's hammers, Hill Giant Club, Elder Maul. I'm including mauls as well. Every hammer in the game I want to collect before I can release the hammer from my inventory. That isn't to say that I can't substitute the hammer with like the dwarven hammer, which you can like equip and wield in your left hand. As long as I have a hammer on my person, I'm considering it part of my inventory. So there's ways to like uh, navigate the inventory space that I have, and be kind of smart about it. So that's one of the narrative arcs. I don't want to spoil all of them, but I have about three set up right now, which is the hammer item, the goblin book, and the goblin mail. Those are all challenges that I already have a pretty solid idea of how I'm going to unlock those inventory slots. Um, oh, and the beer I have a pretty solid idea for, but I'll present them as the series goes on. But I'm aiming to have one narrative arc for every 500 hours played because it's taken. I think I have like 24 days of in-game time now, and I'm just about to be able to release my first item from my inventory. So I want them to be substantial grinds. I want them to be epic story arcs for Muckbones here, and so they are going to take a while. I want them to be creative and challenging. If you guys have any ideas of the items that could be associated with a cool narrative story arc, I'd love to hear them in the comments section. Um, like I'm still, kind of floundering about, what would be a cool challenge to release the chef hat for my character. I've played around with the idea of maybe doing like uh, goblin cooking, which would be like bringing raw foods into boss fights and cooking them on the spot as I fight different bosses to make I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I'm trying to come up with cool challenges or cool storylines I can work on in order to release these items from my inventory. And right now, like I said, the Goblin Mail, the Hammer, and the Goblin Book, I have pretty good narrative storyline set up for. Um, and so yeah, with that, like I did a handful of quests. I adjusted my skills just right to get this character right where I wanted him, and I'm really happy with how it came out. um I I feel like you guys are in for quite a journey, and like I know this is kind of a silly account, but I am super excited to share with you the adventure I've already been on. And man, like I have some really cool like video editing ideas I want to do, and um, storylines I want to go down. And it's just been so much fun to play this game in a role play sense. I feel like there's so much potential for role play in this game, and I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of it by playing as a goblin. And I really hope you guys enjoyed as well. If you do, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll keep creating this content. I mean, I'm gonna create it either way. I'm having so much fun with it. Like, but yeah, if you enjoy it, subscribe, follow along, join my goblin clan, maybe my goblin tribe. Uh, episode 1 should be out in the near future. I really don't have any set timelines for anything. Like, I have 17 children to raise. I have 5 jobs. I'm a busy person. So yeah. Thank you for checking this video out. I hope you liked the intro cinematic, I guess you could call it, teaser trailer thing. Yeah, I'm really excited. Thanks, guys.